Welcome to the It's All Fine and Anjee podcast, where hosts Dan and Anjee talk with creatives, small business owners, charities, and all kinds of interesting people. It's all real talk. It's all fine and Anjee.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy 2024.
That makes me wonder. This is like a Curb Your Enthusiasm thing. It's the 15th of January. When is it too late to say Happy New Year?
I don't know. I think after January.
So you could say it on January 28th. You can say Happy New Year
You can
still.
say it right up to January 31st.
All right.
I don't know what the rules are.
All
but,
right.
Well,
Happy New Year.
It's Happy New Year from us because we haven't seen everybody since Christmas.
I know. We're doing like the every 2 weeks, every 3. I knew we were going to do that.
I know we're going to get out of the algorithm.
Yeah, maybe. But you know what? We have to because we are working on the studio, we're working on guests, we're working on things, and we want to give enough gap in between each episode to kind of let you guys know what's going on. So if we're just like, hey, it's another week we've been working on the studio. Yeah, so we just kind of wanted to give it some time. But we did what we always do for New Year. Mostly we do for New Year. We did go to Mike and Jen's party last year, which was very cool.
The Roaring 20s.
Yes.
That was amazing.
And we hated to miss their party this year, but before that, we were sort of, that was our now I can't talk today.
Actually, wait, step back for a second. You're losing track of time. It wasn't last year that we went to Mike and Jen's party, was it? Because I thought it was 2020.
No, it was last year, I thought. We'll have to check that.
We're going to have to check
Roll
that.
the tape back. But our tradition has always been to just stay at home on New Year's because of all the drunk drivers. And we don't even want to really be in an Uber with all that going on. So we did the same thing that we normally do, and we stayed home.
We sure did. Made a little charcuterie board.
Which was very nice. It was very chill. And
Had some drinks and went to bed before the new year started.
I always do, like an old man. And if you guys hear noise, the dog, I gave her, in my infinite wisdom, I gave her a little ball full of treats right before we started recording and not thinking about how noisy it was going to be.
And she likes to pick it up and throw it on the ground because there's a hole in it where she can get the treats out.
Yep, there she goes.
So she slams it on the ground to try to get them out. And it works a lot of the times too. So she does it.
It does.
But we're just getting back into the swing of things, back to work after the new year. It's always nice to have like those kind of consecutive days off, but it kind of like throws you for a loop a little bit. So
Indeed.
you got to get back on your schedule, you know?
Indeed, yeah. So yeah, my first real work week back was last week. So getting our feet back on the ground, getting back into it, both of us working from home in opposite rooms is pretty cool. We've done a lot of new hikes, which has been really fun. Anjee, you have made this this sort of tradition for us now, I guess, or I guess that's what you call it, where every Saturday we go on a hike. So that has been our plan, and that's what we've been doing this whole time.
Yep.
And it's been really cool. We've tried out a bunch of new hikes. And I was thinking that as you've had me making this little hike guide with the pictures and kind of writing it down.
A little hiking journal.
Yeah, I think it will be cool to maybe share that at some point because we've been looking all over the place for some kind of a guide up here, and it's quite random.
Yeah, like you can look at all trails or you can, search trails on the maps, but it doesn't really give you any real details. Like, is this an easy hike? Is it hard? Is it rocky? What kind of shoes do I need? So we're kind of keeping track of that for when we have people come up to visit and it's somebody that's a little more limited. We can say, oh, we have the perfect trail.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And you can see, like, is it crowded? Is it not crowded? Are there any views? Is it, are there a lot of dogs on it? And I think the last time we talked to you guys, we had done the trail from the Folk Arts Center up in the Blue Ridge Mountains that ended up accidentally being a 6-mile hike where we were like literally limping the next day.
Yeah. I don't have the right shoes for hiking. I definitely need shoes that support my ankles. That's why you see people have like little mountain boots on. I need something that supports my ankles and is thicker on the soles that I can put my insert in because I have plantar fasciitis. So every rock I stepped on was like extreme pain shooting up through my feet.
Yeah, and I don't have plantar fasciitis. What's it called?
Plantar fasciitis.
I don't have Rumpelstiltskin either, but I was still sore from just the walk. So
That was a long hike.
it really was. It was a beautiful view at
And
the
a lot
end,
of
though.
ups and downs too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it did. But at the end, there's I think we talked about this one last time. I can't remember, but at the end, there was a really nice view.
I don't know if we did. I think we did this one after Christmas, but it was like you were on top of actual like the rocks.
Yeah,
the
where
top of the mountain, and there was people out there just like doing yoga and like or meditating, not yoga.
Yeah.
They were doing like meditation. Just a very relaxing spot to sit.
It was really cool. It's called Hall Creek Overlook at the end of that trail. That's at the from the Folk Art Center up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. But since then, we have found what is our new favorite hike, which is the Point Lookout Trail Greenway. And what's really weird about this one is it starts on what looks like an old washed out
It's like an old
road, and it's like there was like some garbage on the side of the road. And at first I was like, what are we getting into here? And it turned out to be beautiful, amazing views pretty much the whole time. It's a real moderate walk with very slight inclines. It's paved, super bike friendly. I want to go back out there with
Yeah.
our bikes.
Yeah.
But it was neat. The
And
cool
it
train
has-
tracks.
Yeah, it has an amazing lookout point too.
Yeah.
But this is one of the ones that we were going to go on our honeymoon, and it was like raining the day we were supposed to go hiking on there. But it is supposed to be a beautiful sunset
Oh, I bet.
because of when you look out, it's like you're looking like through the valley, and there's mountains like on all the sides. It's like one of those pictures you see
Yeah.
of the perfect mountain picture.
And right behind that lookout spot, there's these weird stairs that go up the side of the mountain that maybe used to go to a house, but they clearly took a long time to build, and they've shifted over the years. But you know, it's all done with that sort of the rock from the mountain. It's made these stairs, and it's incredibly steep. And as we're coming back, Mackenzie decides, okay, let's go up those stairs.
She wanted to go up the stairs.
And she did too. She made it all the way
And
up
she
there.
came all the way back down.
That was
she
cool.
sure did. Yeah. So I love that. Like every Saturday, we just know that is what we're going to do. And
Yeah.
sometimes we just wing it. Like this past weekend, we just kind of winged it, and we
Yeah.
found one. And then it's more like a park, kind of, right?
Yeah, I believe that was called the Hominy Creek Greenway Trail.
Yeah.
It's very
And
short.
That's a great one for like picnics. Like I told you, like when it's going to be summertime, it would be nicer to take the dogs down there, let them run around and swim in the river. They can even swim in the river, which is
Oh
cool.
yeah, when it's because it's
it's
kind of a
warmer.
beach in
Yeah,
the
it has
summer.
a little beachy area.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't really that long, so then we found another one close by and went up that
On the
to
same
that one as
day.
well.
Yeah.
And that was a steep one.
That was
I can't pronounce the name of that
It's
one.
like
So
Bowcatcher Trailhead or something like that. Yeah, that was a cool. The only thing I didn't really like about that one is there was some signs of like it was like drug paraphernalia underneath the
Yeah.
picnic table and stuff. So a little sketchy.
That was a little sketchy. And it was kind of like in the city. It was like overlooking the city, which had some cool views, but it was a nice little hike though. I mean, as far as getting some exercise for sure.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, batteries are going dead.
Look who didn't turn their sound off. That's what she's going to say.
I usually get yelled at for that one.
Same thing we did last time. One of us edited the notes and then it let us know. But during the time we've been out here doing all this stuff, we actually were able to meet up with my cousin Lori and her husband Matt in Weaverville. We all had some lunch, and it was really cool to see family, people that we know from back home in Florida, here in North Carolina. And we love Weaverville too, so it was nice to be able to run over there. And
Yeah, we were trying to take them to our favorite little pizza spot over there, but they were closed.
oh yeah,
Because it was New Year's Day.
the Blue Moon. Is it Blue Moon? No, Blue Mountain. I always
Blue
call
Mountain.
it Blue Mountain. Blue Moon. Yeah, Blue
Blue
Mountain.
Moon because of the beer, probably. That's
Yeah.
why you're doing that.
But we did make our way over to one of our very favorite restaurants over in this area, and that is Copper Crown. Interesting, I didn't realize Copper Crown is technically in Asheville. So this whole time we
Yeah.
thought it was in Weaverville, but it's actually in
Hendersonville.
Asheville. Or Hendersonville, that's
Yeah.
right. The Villes.
That's because we were, it's all the villes around here.
Yeah.
So, because we usually, the first few years we came up here, stayed in Hendersonville. And then we've kind of made our way to kind of some of the outskirting areas. We stayed in Fletcher and Asheville and places like that. So.
And we've gone and visited like Bryson City and some of the other areas around here. We love it all. We're still not sure where we're going to move, so it's a very exciting time. But Copper Crown was an absolute hit, just like it always is.
I know.
The Uber driver ran over a giant curb on the way into the parking lot and almost got her car stuck. I'm talking, guys, I'm talking a 1 foot off the ground curb that it was like I couldn't get the door open after because it had dented the underside of her car.
I felt so bad for her.
I did too. So that was kind of a bummer. But
I mean, I probably would have ran that curb over too. I'm not going to lie.
it was very dark.
It was dark, and the positioning of it was really weird. It's like it was just really weird. I probably would have ran it over too.
Yeah, so that part was a bummer. But the food was so good. So good. And then after the trail every Saturday, we try to hit like a local restaurant or like a local brewery and kitchen. And this past week we went to, was it called White Labs Brewing Company? Is that it?
Yeah, I think it was White, like the kitchen part is called White Labs Kitchen and Pub, I think it was called, or Kitchen and Bar.
White Labs makes me think of Walter White.
Well, it kind of gave that feel, actually. Like they had some artwork on the side of the building that had like a guy like doing chemistry.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. We had to sit outside and it was a little chilly. So next time we'll try to go inside because we had the pup with us. So, so it was a little chilly, but they had a great burger. You had pizza.
Yeah.
It's bar food. You know what I mean?
Bar food, yeah. And then you had a coffee beer, which was interesting.
I had a coffee beer and I was like looking at it like there ain't no coffee in this because it was very pale.
Yeah, it wasn't a dark beer.
I couldn't taste the coffee too much in it, but you said you could. But it was good. Like the flavor was good, but it reminded me more of a Corona than like a dark beer like I was thinking. And when I think coffee, I think I'm going to get some kind of dark beer that does
make sense.
And it was
I would have
stout,
thought.
Right?
I don't know. I just saw coffee.
It was a lager.
It was a lager. Yeah,
Did
coffee.
you say lager?
I said lager. It's a lager. Do you guys have any lager? Yeah, anyways, whatever. I'm drinking a lager right now.
Yeah, so we've been doing that every Saturday, so we're make sure we're kind of getting out of the house. Since when you do work at home, you know, you want to try to make sure you're getting out and moving, which we do with our dog. We get out and walk her a couple times a day. We are going to put an at-home gym in the basement here because we kind of have like two houses in one here.
Underneath, we have the whole floor plan on the second level.
We have a room for a full studio downstairs, a workout space, simple workout space, and a whole like to store anything that we could possibly
like a huge
need.
big store. That part of it's been really nice, and
it's not even that cold down there.
No, well, there's heating and cooling down there. I just don't think as much. It's not as insulated, but also in an effort to keep ourselves in shape, we go up and down the stairs around here about 15 times a day because that's just what happens when you have stairs as we're learning.
Yeah, well, we have stairs that go into the laundry room, into downstairs, and stairs that go onto the backyard.
Yeah, and then down to the basement, and then down to the podcast room, and so it's been.
But you've been working really hard on getting the podcast studio together so that we have another presentable space to bring new businesses, small businesses into when they come to our home. We probably, because of our location, I do feel like we'll probably be doing some traveling to go to places as well.
I do too. I do too. But some people may want to come and just sit at the table and relax. And
I feel like once we get the podcast studio done, we should do some like a little photo shoot of us kind of sitting there and show them pictures of the podcast studio,
or even a little 10-second clip,
like a little video.
Yeah,
might be kind of nice.
Because we are going to start doing videos again soon once we have the podcast room set up. So I'm in the process of running all the cables in the wall and mounting the cameras and testing the lighting. And we just got this really cool table. It's a huge table from a local store. It is a future guest because we're looking to line up guests as we talk to small businesses. We went to a place called Town Salvage Company. We spoke to Bradley Barrett. I hope I'm saying your last name right, Bradley, but nicest guy, coolest place. I mean, it's like
so cool. I cannot wait to go there. Like when we buy a house.
Yeah.
I'm like, my brain was already going, oh my gosh, I could do this with this and this with this.
Oh, so this is what you guys need to know. This kind of place, if you're ever up here, or if you live up here, and you're looking for just the right door or just the right window, and you want, or even they had like fireplace mantles. If you want something that has been harvested from an old house, that is such an authentic thing to have in your house. It is just the coolest stuff. It reminded me of our friend Kim and Martin Vandersanden. They have this sort of a gate on their pantry that came from an old building somewhere. Yeah. It's that kind of stuff. It's like all kinds of just old hardware, doors, pieces and parts.
Like clawfoot tubs
Yeah.
and just those really cool sink faucets that have like the white and the silver,
Oh,
the
yeah.
little.
But it's original, not, you can buy
Yeah.
the replicas at the like the hardware store, but this is the real deal, the real stuff. So it was very cool. We'll definitely be going back there, and we're looking forward to having Bradley on the show. That's from Old Town Salvage. And we went to another place called Reclaim Madison Salvage and Thrift Store that was in Marshall, North Carolina. It was a similar place. We ended up finding a table for the podcast there. We're looking for something that was kind of unique. So we're going to do some cool sanding and painting and staining. And I say we when I really mean Anjee. But that turned out to be really cool. It's a massive, it's like an old dining room table that was maybe made for 8 people, and we're going to use it for 4 people at the studio.
Yeah,
So it'll be plenty of room.
It'll be nice to have the room. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And I'm kind of looking forward to being at a table again whenever I feel like it kind of like creates it. We were a little uncomfortable in the chairs that we had in the studio. You never know. Well, I'm going to speak for myself. As a woman, when you get like little roly-polies in the center, you're like trying to wear the right shirt where it's not fitting too snug, and you're trying to sit right so that your shirt's like pulled out.
Oh, trust me,
And
it's a guy thing.
Freaking worried about that.
It's a guy thing too, and we recorded that
Plus,
one too.
Don't wear shorts when you're sitting across from me.
Yes.
And make sure you put if you got a skirt, you've got your legs right, because
Hey, pal, put the mouse back in the house. This is a kid-friendly show. But I had the same thing, honestly, Anjee. It's funny because, that room wasn't huge, and we're only about maybe 5 feet from the people across from us, maybe a little less. And I never knew, am I like man spreading sitting like this? Should I cross my legs? Am I sitting in a fat position for the camera? Yeah. And my shirt feels too tight. Yeah, I want to sit at a table again. So I'm glad we're in agreement there. There's something comfortable about a table. You can put your stuff on the table and your paperwork if you need notes, but really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And we've been putting a lot of work into it, but
we had a really nice drive. We went on a little adventure because we left the dog at home after we went to the place, and we actually found a table. We're like, oh, well, that's nice. What do we do now? Just go straight home? No, we drove up the mountain in Marshall.
Beautiful, though. It reminded me, and I think.
Well, first we drove. They suggested we drive into Marshall.
Yes, so we drove down to Marshall, which is a city. It's so hard to explain, but it is a city that has just been plucked out of the history books that sits right on the side of this really wide river. And on the other side of the river is a sheer cliff that goes up the side of the mountain. So
People's backyards are a cliff.
You are tucked in between these 2 mountains. And I mean, when I say this, I mean, there's literally no land between the little city downtown strip, the river, and the mountains on each side. It's really cool. And we found out after we got home, Netflix filmed a show there a couple years ago.
It's one we started watching.
Can't remember the name of it
Peripheral.
now. Peripheral, yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, we went down there, super cool, and, didn't even stop anywhere. But then, as Anjee says, we drove up the mountain on the way home, like, let's just go through here. And I think what we both discovered, or maybe rediscovered doing that, is we want to live in the mountains. We want to live in an area where it's view. You have a nice view, you have a nice little yard, maybe a big yard, and maybe it takes 30 minutes to get to the grocery store, but who cares? And that is something I did not know before we moved up here.
Yeah. I think that is what I really want too, because I have come to the conclusion the place where we're living is great. It's close to all the things that we want it to be,
It's a good home base while you search.
It is, definitely. But one of the things is, like, when I walk outside, I don't want to hear the highway.
Yeah.
That is a big thing to me. I want it to be
quiet.
No noise pollution.
You want to hear the bears.
I do. I want to hear the animals or just the silence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And light pollution too. You know what I mean? I would love, I don't know, just there's something very calming about that. But that view, just, we were driving by those houses that are like, how did they get this spot?
Right.
Because they're like at the top of a hill. They've got a yard, so they've kind of cleared out an area where they have a flat surface, but they have these huge windows in their house because their view is like a painting.
It is amazing.
Amazing. I can't even imagine what like sunset is like or sunrise. That is what I would like.
The biggest challenge I think for us is we both have to have good internet from home. So finding good, I know it's out
we'll
there.
We'll just put one of those big old satellites up.
Satellite's too slow. So, but there are places that are more remote, that are away from the roads. They give you the land, give you the view, and aren't so remote because let's be honest, I mean, we really did like some areas of that, but we went through a couple other areas where like the land is beautiful, but it's a little scary. It's getting a little sketch around here. Wouldn't want to break down in this area kind of thing.
It's true.
So,
well, plus the elements too, like I wouldn't, there's no guardrails on the side of these roads that you're going up. It's straight down.
And not only is there no guardrail, there's a foot between the edge of the road and the drop off where there's normally a guardrail. So
you don't swerve.
And if you dropped off, that's it. I mean, your car, it would take you 5 minutes to hit the ground.
You might get caught by a tree.
Maybe.
Hopefully. You're like, please catch me, tree, please. I mean, there was icicles on the side of the mountain on the rocks that were exposed. It was a beautiful drive, though.
Put it this way, guys. I don't have even one picture from that drive because
there's no way in hell I was going to let you take a picture.
I could not take a picture without killing us. So it was...
and we discovered Anjee has to have Dramamine in the car, Dramamine, whatever you call it, because I get nauseous.
Yeah.
I get nauseous, I guess, from the elevation changes.
And the curvy roads at the same time. But.
So I have to like keep my eye on the horizon, have the window down. So I'm just gonna have to keep Dramamine in the car. It's ridiculous.
But it was beautiful. I know. I get it. I get car sick in the passenger seat anywhere, straight in the straight line.
To. It's just I think your body just changes.
Well, we came home, and I wouldn't necessarily mention such a mundane thing, but maybe I would. But we watched an old scary movie that I haven't seen in honestly 40 years probably. It was a movie called Ghost Story, and it scared me so bad when I was probably 12, 13 years old. I think it might have been my first crush, the lady from that movie.
Well, and I said I know why.
Why?
Because you saw her boobies. Like,
she's naked
if you're like 11 or 12 watching a movie like that and there's sex scenes and nakedness, hey, great job, parents. Let your kids watch this freaking rated R movie. But by the way,
I guess I mentioned it because if any of you out there, maybe old friends back home even remember that movie, let me know because that movie, I mean, I could not sleep for a couple nights after seeing it. And I'll admit the special effects didn't really hold up.
But I could see why you would have been scared back then. I would have too.
Yeah.
But the story was good.
It's a really good story. Yeah. So anyway, that was a kind of a blast.
It would be
from
a
the
really
past.
good remake though.
I know. I don't know why they don't do it because it was Fred Astaire's last movie. We're talking about how old this movie is. It was like 81. And I don't think it did that well in theaters. I was reading about it, of course, after. So I don't know. It'd be a good. I mean, they remade everything, but why not remake one that didn't do that good? It didn't perform that well anyway.
Yeah.
So I have some news about Anjee, y'all. I said y'all. I'm in New York.
Y'all.
New York. I'm in New York. I'm in North Carolina. New York.
You are losing your mind.
They do not say y'all in New York. They say yous guys. Anjee is now an ordained minister.
I am.
I should pipe in the angel singing right now.
Oh, my goodness. Well, so my sister that lives in Sarasota, my youngest sister, asked me if I would become a notary to marry them.
Yep.
Because she's like, you're the only person I know that can get up in front of a large group of people and not be embarrassed, you know? And I'm like, sure. Yes, absolutely.
Right there with you.
Right? But to be a notary in Florida, you have to keep the same residence for 4 years. So I'm like, it's kind of breaking the law because now that we've moved. So we just started doing some research and found out, you can just become an ordained minister in every state and marry people.
I love it so much. You're
you
like
just
Joey.
have to have like the credentials. That's literally all you have to do.
You're like Joey from Friends now.
Yep. So I do have to write their little, short but sweet, little.
I love it.
Little.
You have
keep it kind of, short because they don't want a really long. What do you call it? It's not a reception. Ceremony.
Ceremony. Well, you have some really, I don't want to ruin them in case they're listening, but you have some really, really clever ideas, which I think you should go with.
I'm going to.
Are you going to go giving and having and receiving?
Receiving and loving. Yeah. something like that. Something like that.
Well, congratulations for becoming an ordained minister still.
Yes,
it's going to be fun.
And you are actually going to be doing the drone work.
I am, all the drone and videography work, even on the ground. So that'll be fun. I haven't even been able to fly the drone since we got here. So I'm really excited to come do that for them.
Yep. So so we'll be taking a trip to February.
We'll be taking a trip to February in Florida.
We will be taking a trip to February in Florida.
That's it. But it's weird. Now that we're sort of settling in, there are things that are so new to me. I'm 52 years old. Am I 52 or 53? Anyway,
or something like that.
I don't know. But I'm in my early 50s.
You stop keeping track, right?
I know. I just don't care. But I have never, ever moved out of state in my entire life. I've barely moved out of the city. So having to get like a new driver's license and get a new license plate and find new doctors and find a new barber and
pay new taxes.
But yeah, that too. But it's just weird. It's like, so we're going through the list of finding just the rudimentary things that you have to, a dentist, a barber, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's an odd thing. But I'm not excited to spend all the money this week, but I am excited to have my official driver's license, my official license plate for North Carolina.
Yep.
So,
and I will do mine next week.
Yeah, that'll be
because it's really expensive to get it done here.
It really is. There is I think they call it a highway tax, and it is basically a percentage of the value of your vehicle. So immediately it's a big cost.
We're kind of spoiled in Florida because we're a tourist state, so we don't pay the state taxes.
That's right.
So we've also taken a hit on our paychecks because
a noticeable one.
Yeah, because we are taxed. State taxes now that come out of your weekly check.
And I wonder if it balances out because there's a few things that are different. For instance, car insurance is less than half as expensive here. Mm-hmm. There are no toll roads, so you never pay any tolls. And I was famous for spending a lot on tolls. So were you. Mm-hmm. So I'm never going to know because I'm never going to calculate it. But I'm curious if it breaks even at the end or.
Well, I probably spent about at least $15 a week on tolls going back and forth to work.
Yeah.
So that right there is $60 a month.
Yeah.
So it probably does break even. Maybe they got to maintain the road somehow, and that's how they do it.
Yeah, combined with the cheaper insurance, it might break even because it won't alone. Mm-hmm. But speaking of things in February, little puppy Oliver comes home in February.
Yes, he does. So we had these grand plans, you guys. So I'm like, we'll make it a road trip, right? So we're already going to. We have to drive to Florida in February for to do some stuff around the Airbnb. And then we're going to Sarasota to the wedding.
Yep.
And then on the day after the wedding, we were going to drive 20 plus hours
from Sarasota
to Kansas to pick up the puppy.
Yes, that would require a night stay somewhere.
Yes. And then drive another 18-hour plus from there with a new puppy home.
Staying in a hotel
Jesus,
again.
Lord,
so
what was I thinking?
We did more calculations and the cost and the time. And so now Anjee is saving the day by flying on 4 airplanes in one day to get that puppy back to us.
2 layovers.
Yeah. So you're flying out of here. You're going to I think Texas.
Houston.
Yeah, from Texas to Kansas City. From Kansas City to Atlanta.
Yep.
And from Atlanta back here. Yeah. So it's going to be a long day, but we appreciate it for sure.
And the craziest part is when Lana, the breeder, meets me at the airport. My flight is supposed to get in Kansas City at 10:35. She will meet me at the ticket booth because I have to pay for, the $125 to bring the puppy on the plane. But my next flight leaves at 12:20.
So you gotta go. Give me the dog. Give me the dog.
Let me snuggle it, and I gotta go.
Right. That's exactly. So better you than me. Well, I shouldn't say that. We stopped and we did an assessment of who would handle the rush, getting a puppy, and then flying with a puppy back the best in terms of stress level. That conversation was about 5 seconds long. And we decided it was you. I'm stressed just thinking about it.
You will bring Mackenzie to the airport to pick me up.
Yes, indeed. Of course,
and drop me off. That's what you will do.
That's going to be awesome.
But it's going to be fun. It's a little sooner than we expected, but our pup is been very nervous here. You can probably hear her grumbling right now because every little noise every little noise just gets her nervous, and there's so many dogs that are barking around our neighborhood that she isn't quite settled in yet. And she just wants mom and dad to be everywhere she is.
And she's never been clingy.
No,
never.
not like that. No. So for her to have a little playmate around the house, I mean, it's going to be some work for us, but at least, you have backup now because I work from home too.
Yes.
So
it'll be a great distraction for her, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice little distraction.
And I'm going to be.
We love things just work out. Things happen the way they're supposed to, and that's what happened in the case of Oliver.
Incredibly true, and I'm more sure than ever that the perfect house and the perfect scenario is going to fall into place for us. Mm-hmm. Just one more thing, too. I just thought of this. I'm flying to Chicago in April. So.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. So,
did you tell me this? I don't think you told me this
very
yet.
briefly yesterday, but yeah, I'm still mapping out exact dates. So
okay, you did tell me you were going. I just didn't know when you're going to go.
So it'll be in April.
You're going to be doing quite a bit of traveling this year, though.
Yeah, well, if I'm not flying on that first flight until April, then it's going to be a lot closer back to back after that. But yeah, anyway, I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
When we live pretty close to the airport here, although finding direct flights from Asheville to anywhere, I'm learning is not nearly as easy as it was from Orlando. So. So I'll have to do some layovers myself, and it is getting cold up here. We, for those of you that are on social media with us,
it's cold out here.
It is, and we love it. But we've been hoping for colder winter weather, and over this next week, I know the country is getting pounded with snow in certain areas. We're certainly not getting that. But I mean, the low this next week is like 8 degrees. The high is one of the days, the high is 23. So
yeah, it's on a hiking day. I don't know if we're going to be hiking that day.
Oh, I think it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really refreshing. Okay. And every time I read that snow flurries are coming, like this morning, snow flurries, I jump out of bed, I get dressed, I go take the garbage to the road, and I'm hanging around outside waiting for snow flurries. It's like 27 degrees. And they didn't happen.
I know our friend Craig and Daisy that live in Knoxville. Daisy just sent me pictures, and they have snow.
Oh, they're buried.
They're supposed to get 9 inches.
Oh,
she
that's
said.
awesome.
Yeah. So their whole backyard is snow.
That is awesome.
I'm like, Dan's waiting for it.
I mean, I don't want to live in the snow, but I'm not going to lie. Whenever it does snow here, I'm going to be very excited. It's going to be very exciting.
It is. I mean, it's exciting when you've never seen it or been in it before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we went on that hike. We were telling you guys the Point Lookout hike, our new favorite. And it was not snow flurries. It was snowing when we got out. And you can tell the difference if you're from Florida and you don't know what I'm talking about. Snow flurries are almost like shaved ice that lands on you because it turns to water immediately. Mm-hmm. Real snow, even when it's light, it's like you have little perlite balls all over you and they stay on you for a while. So I looked down and Mackenzie's covered in them. It was really neat.
Yeah, it is neat. Really cool.
Yeah.
Well, we do have an announcement about the podcast too. So we're going to be changing up the song that we have.
Yes, I love our song, but they want $1,400 for lifetime licensing of that song, and it's just for a free podcast. It's too much for us. So we're going to reach out to some musicians and have them make a new song for us that we own the rights to.
Yeah, which will be helping to support a local musician.
That is true.
Or a small business, basically.
Yeah,
because that's what musicians are.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So I like that. We'll find just the right fit. I'm sure we will.
So get ready for a death metal intro. I'm just kidding.
They've changed. There's lots of people that change their logos throughout the years. I mean, I do like the idea of keeping it pretty streamlined, but, we're growing older. Our logo might need to change to reflect the way we look, like a little gray hair.
Some gray streaks in mine. Yeah.
And she's got long hair now instead of short hair. That kind of stuff might need to change, or just to go to something a little more simple, like that. People do that to kind of refresh their image.
I love doing that.
To do that too.
Yeah, I'll go in and update the logo sometime this year to make myself look more gray.
Yeah, but men look great with gray hair.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. You know me, I'm not hiding.
Yeah. Yep. Well, anyway, guys, we thank you so much each and every week for tuning in, even for tuning in on the weeks when we're not there.
Yeah.
It's saying, what are you guys up to? What are you doing? Why aren't you recording?
Well, we have a backlog of 198 episodes now. Our next episode will be Our next episode will be 200. So this is the 5th year on a calendar that we've been doing this. So if you start 2019 is when we started?
2019.
Yeah. So it's been
April
going for a while.
of 2019, I think, is when we started.
Oh, that's
actually.
awesome. So we are actually closing in on the 5-year mark. It's
We
been
are.
really, really fun. And we're so excited to start meeting with people again and getting small businesses in the studio, meeting with them remotely, making new friends up here, which is, as we talked before, it's one of those sort of collateral, unexpected things that have happened from this podcast that we love getting to know the business owners in our community. So thank you guys so much, as Anjee said, for continuing to listen, for following along in our crazy adventure here. Yeah. We're so excited to see some of you when we come back in February, some of you again when we come back in May.
Well, Anjee will be back in March, but I will literally be like in and out.
Yeah, commando.
In and out. I'm helping a friend from work with the setup of their wedding. So that's my wedding gift to them.
I know, you are crazy. That's a nice gift. That is a nice gift.
It's a very nice gift. That's what you get, my time.
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. And remember, at the end of each and every day, it's all fine and